Hi guys, my name is Aleja Adebo Alliance, News International Sport, the best sporting show in the whole of the universe. Proudly sponsored by Hypermatch and iBookenso Glams. If you are looking for the best glams to wear, this is from iBookenso. You can follow them on Instagram, Bookenso Glams, and of course, Hypermatch is the new way for you to connect and play your fantasy football league. My name is Aleja Adebo Ali, like I said before, and today I have special people with me today. Of course, you all know the bearded Oracle Kachi, the AC, the Milan, and our football analyst, or should I say, yeah, football analyst, American football analyst. And of course, we have the boxing expert with us today, Sheyi Ajayi, an avid Manchester United fan. And we have, of course, the faceless Olatunji Abeshin, avid Real Madrid fan for donkey years. Kachi, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sports fans, as I would always start, always a pleasure to be a part of this great community of sporting analysts. Welcome to the show once again. I said it before, and it's looking like I'm getting back my oracleness. I said if Arsenal would end up winning this year's English Premier League, it won't be because they blew um, everybody away. It will be because their biggest and closest competition shot themselves in the foot. After a marquee win over Arsenal midweek, uh, City came back crashing down to earth. In a game they had possession of about 86% to 14%. They still managed to draw it. We'll dissect all this, and I'll tell you why last week's Super Bowl was probably the greatest Super Bowl played so far. Welcome
All
once
right.
again.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Kachi. And of course, Sheyi, go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's show. And I think the week was quite fantastic for sport fans. I talk as a Manchester United fan. A good time. It's been a while seeing a Manchester United team go to what's it called, no camp, and look like a better team over.
Mhm.
It's been quite a while, and also seeing the league form quite impressive. The coach seemed to know how to also use his players very well, resting them, refreshing them, and it's quite a good times for Manchester United fans. Not only about on the pitch, and I think off the pitch also. We're probably talking about the potential Qatari money coming in. Welcome, everyone.
Everybody else wants oil money. And of course, CG, good work for you guys as well, winning the World Club Cup as well. CG, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, good day, everyone. My name is Alatunji. It's always a pleasure discussing sport with people. Like you rightly said, I mean, it's not news. This is Madrid doing what we know how to do best. Win trophies, make the fans happy, make shareholders happy, and rule the sport of football basically. Thank you very much.
Very, very pompous and proud set of human beings. Anyways, you guys deserve it. You guys have done it, seen it or done it all. So I can't do anything but say props to Real Madrid, Ala Madrid. Of course, we'll be starting with the NBA All-Star Weekend. Yanis was so proud of at the dunk contest. I felt it was really boring. Even the 3-pointer game for me too was boring. The Melina wore that as well. Kachi, I want to start off from you. Looking at the West looks pretty much more solid than the East. Honestly, at least on paper. I know it's a friendly and all, but of course, this is what gives the NBA props, and this is what the Americans are trying to bring to the Premier League. That most people don't want them to, for the fear of I don't know. And prime or chief among the antagonists is always Olawale. He doesn't want this to come to. I feel it should come, but I'm looking at it. Luca, LeBron, Ja, Joker, McCann, But of course, Zion Williamson and Corey are not going to be available because of injury. Antonio Edwards and the rest of the guys, Paul George, Shea, Leland, Sabonis as well. How do you rate the matchup basically for both East and West, or do you agree that the West looks pretty better than the East?
Because of the current format, where even though we already know those coming out from the East and the West, the way this current format is, the captains can choose anybody from any conference.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, that it's probably evenly poised. However, based on the caliber of people who have come from each conference to be a part of this, it's really hard to say the West has any say here. I think the East is definitely better.
Really?
I definitely think so.
The start for the East are Giannis, Joel, Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell,
KD,
and Tatum.
And Tatum. Starters.
Starters.
Those are people who in the last 2 years played either in the conference final or in the NBA final. These are people who have proven themselves. The last time a LeBron James team went to the final was 3 years ago. I'm going to 4 years ago.
It was not 4 years ago. It was 2020 now.
No, 2029. 2029 season, okay, going into 2020. Yes, you want to say that. I would take all these people you called before I select a Ja Morant, for instance, or even a LeBron James. You obviously know where I stand with LeBron. I don't think he's top 5. Personal opinion. I don't think he's currently top 5.
I'm still going to kidnap you one day because of this. Don't worry.
I would take those 5 starters in the East before I take LeBron or even Ja Morant. And that's not saying LeBron is not consistent or is not doing it at the high level. I'm only saying right now, it's only because the best player in the league has refused to be the face of the league. That is why LeBron is still the face of the league.
Still the face of the league.
But all that being said, I think the East, by virtue of how competitive they are and they have been over the last 3 to 4 years, since when LeBron James left. Let's not forget that everybody ran to the East after LeBron came to the West. Let's not forget that. I'm not going to take that away from LeBron. However, but by virtue of all of them running to the East to try and get to the final to face a LeBron James team in the West, which everyone thought would happen with the Lakers, they've made the East invariably stronger. I still feel that the East is the better conference right now until I'm proven wrong. I thought the Celtics had the Celtics lost last year's final. The Warriors did not win it. That was my opinion. I'm not saying because the Warriors were not a better unit, but the Celtics had momentum. They had the younger team. They had 4 games in Boston. They just did not capitalize on it. That being said, the nature of the All-Star game will not let us see actual East players face off against actual West players. They can select from either conference. But I think the caliber of players that were selected to the All-Star from the East are definitely better than the ones.
I think the trade informed that, because someone like KD or Kyrie, for instance, where do you place them? They were voted when they were in the East, but now both are in the West.
Now in the West. I still don't see them as Western Conference players until next season, because they were voted in from the East. Yes.
From the East, exactly. Olatuji, I'm going to come to you. Giannis, Joel Embiid. Joel is probably one of, save for Giannis, I'll say Joel is one of the most dominant players in the NBA, not just in the East. Kyrie, we know Kyrie for who Kyrie is, the most skillful point guard, and he can do. If Kyrie is in the mood, he can do what other basketballers can only dream of doing. Donovan Mitchell dropping the 71 points, if I'm not mistaken, this season already. Jason Tatum, we know the class the kid is. He's a kid right now, but it's destined for the top. KD definitely going to play. Bam Adebayo, Jalen, DeMar DeRozan, Tracy, Drew Holiday, and of course Julius Randle. Do you agree with Kachi that it looks like the stack of the players from the East is better than the West? And one more question for you, Tuji, would be the fact that Ja is starting ahead of Damian Lillard. I'm wondering what informed that selection. Is just I don't understand.
I think it's very straightforward, and I think it's going to happen over and over again. Basically, this is it's a fan voting situation, and people who are commercialized, people who are pumped up, who know how to milk the crowd, will naturally get votes ahead of people like Lillard. I think Lillard basically just wants to play basketball, enjoy himself and go away. Ja Morant wants to. He's a TV guy. He wants to do the dunk. He knows how to do everything that gets you excited. So it's natural for you to, expect fans to vote people like that ahead of people like, Damian. And if Damian does not, just like Kachi said, it's like, who is going to take away the face of NBA from LeBron? It's not exactly like there are no players that can do that. I think Giannis should be it at the moment, but he's not stepping up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's not stepping up to it. He doesn't want to do it. He wants to be the cool guy. It's just like when AJ was, the number one guy in boxing, and he was trying to be a gentleman. It didn't make sense. These are sports where you need to dominate. It's like a rapper. It's like a rapper who wants to claim number one, but he doesn't want to be out there. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
You need to go at people. You need to stamp your authority. You need to run people over. People need to talk about you, and you go at them like, did you say something? It's done. But if Damian chooses to play the way he's playing at the moment, the kind of personality he's pushing out there, then I think he's always going to play behind people like Jam. He's not going to change. Then, all right. I like to see. He said the skill contest and all of those is getting boring.
Yeah, it is.
That over the weekend, and I think it's expected. This has been on for a very long time. And I think it's high time the NBA needs to look at, other ways to spice it up. One of the things people are talking about is a one-on-one, kind of game. It sounds interesting. I don't know how it's going to work, but I think that's one direction they really need to look at. Or else, I think in the next couple of years, people will lose interest.
But realistically, and this is off the topic. It's off topic as a matter of fact, but on topic as well. I was watching something on Instagram, I guess, and they asked Kobe that one-on-one against Michael Jordan and LeBron, who's gonna win? And Kobe was like, "I'm gonna win. That's what I live for." So I'm gonna pose the question to both you and Kachi. One-on-one today. A Joel Embiid versus Giannis. Who are you picking? Who are you putting your money on? 2G first.
It's a bit tough. So unfortunately, I see people play one-on-one right now, and I don't like when I see one-on-one where people actually just shoot from a distance. Okay, so I don't like that bit, because if you bring that bit in, then I think Joel is just going to win outright. Do you understand? But if they play basketball the way they used to play it, back in the 80s and stuff, where it's a bit more physical, you need to come at the player, get dribbles done and all of those, then I think I'll go with Giannis. Yeah.
Giannis. Damla is saying Giannis will lock Joe's ass. Do you agree with that?
I totally re-echo what Olatunji has said, because I was thinking about it and I said, Joel is a better shooter from the arc. He has a better jumper. Giannis is a better perimeter and paint defender and can attack you low post and all that. So based on the fact that shooting from the arc gets you 3 points, and Joel obviously is shooting at almost 38 to 40%. Giannis clicking at about 28 to 30%. That gives Joel the edge. However, if the rule says you guys are both small forwards, that can play the 5 role, the center role, then play your one-on-one as bigs. Don't play as small forwards or power forwards. Sorry, not small forward, power forwards. Don't play as power forwards. Play as bigs and dominate. Get all your points in the paint. Then absolutely, I'll give it to Giannis.
Giannis will feed Joel.
Giannis will lock Joel down. But because the game has transitioned, and that's what the LeBron haters wanted to use to say, well, LeBron got to 38,388 because he was shooting more threes than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did. If you use that as an argument, then definitely Joel, who does better shooting from the arc, would win. But it will make it very, very boring. So if you want it a lot more physical, I'm not sure if you've ever watched this movie. It's called The Longest Yard by Adam Sandler, where they had to play a game of one-on-one with Michael Irvin, the Hall of Famer in the NFL. If it's like that, then without a doubt, if they go that physical, come on. I just told you Giannis should be the face of the league. He's just a reluctant person who doesn't.
So Damilana is saying for the revamp of the All-Star weekend, we should be looking at actually bring and one ballers to the NBA to compete against the top NBA guys. That'll be interesting. Like for the professor and the co. That'll be interesting. Thank you very much, Damilana, for that. That's a wonderful one. Bringing the and one guys. Those guys play street basketball against the basketballer themselves. That'll be interesting. But Kachi, I want to stay with you. A review of the NFL last weekend, the Super Bowl, as they call it. I think for me, the highlight of the show was Rihanna showing us second baby bomb. Me personally, tell us more about it and how your team lost. I'm always happy when you lose. So.
I agree with you that the highlight of the show of that whole Super Bowl was pretty much Rihanna. Statistics from Nielsen SoundScan showed that 117 million people tuned in to watch the halftime performance, and at the peak of the game broadcast, only 114 million people watched the actual match. So an extra 3 million people came to watch the Super Bowl simply because of Rihanna. And it was good to see her because it was her first time performing after a 6-year absence. And congratulations to both her and I believe it's A$AP Rocky, whoever, I think. I wish them all the best. But coming back to the Super Bowl itself, it was already epoch-making because this was the first Super Bowl in the modern era to have the two starting quarterbacks that are of the black persuasion. In Patrick Mahomes, who was playing on an injured leg or hobbled ankle, and the young man in Jalen Hurts. I remember during the preview last week, I said I expected the Chiefs to win it by, I said 38-35. No, I said 28-25, 25, but the game ended 38-35. It was still a 3-point difference. But beyond that, this was the first time in 19 years that the regular season MVP in Patrick Mahomes would go on to be the Super Bowl MVP. Amazing performance by Jalen Hurts. First time ever that a quarterback would score 3 rushing touchdowns. It was end-to-end. I think a great game was marred by a very questionable referee call that gave the Kansas City Chiefs the opportunity to drive to eat up the clock and salt the game away with that field goal. But all in all, third highest watched Super Bowl in the history of football in America. It says a lot that the black quarterbacks will not drive away the market like a lot of these white owners have feared. Jalen Hurts is now poised for a big payday because there was a huge pay disparity. He played on a rookie contract. He only earned $1.5 million this year, the same year that Patrick Mahomes earned $52 million. So Jalen Hurts is destined for, he's going to enter the final year of his rookie deal. And the Philadelphia Eagles know that they will be very smart to lock him down now. Locking him down will probably guarantee him $200 million over the next 5 years,
4 years,
which is which is the quality of performance he has shown.
He has
Now
produced.
coming back to you asking why my team did not make it. Tunji and Sheyi, I definitely am a big fan of the San Francisco 49ers. We made it to the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Played in Philadelphia. We already lost our first two
Excuses.
quarterbacks in
Excuses.
Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. We went in there with two backup quarterbacks, our third string and fourth string quarterback. In the very first series, our third string quarterback
Excuses.
dislocated his elbow. Before the end of the second quarter, our fourth string quarterback got a concussion, and we had to use our running back. Our running back, Christian McCaffrey, finished the game playing quarterback for us.
Wow.
So it was inevitable. We could not go into the passing game. But take nothing away from Philadelphia. They were, by and large, the best offensive team from the NFL, from that conference. They were like deserved representative. They did themselves big justice. But there's a funny statistics. The last 17 quarterbacks to have played in the Super Bowl and lost never made it back to the Super Bowl. Would that become the same story for Jalen Hurts? We'll wait to see. But it was an amazing show.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for educating out of that. I know I love listening to you when you talk about football because I know little when you talk about football. But
we'll have a watch party very soon once we visit the United States.
I can't wait. But I have a question though, and my question is: I saw Steve A talking about Patrick Mahomes being the next, or should I say, is going to take away the GOATs from Tom Brady. I'm like, where's that coming from? I don't understand. So I figured I needed to ask you that question. And probably you'll be able to tell me one or two more things about that.
The single biggest argument is because of what Patrick Mahomes has been able to achieve in the first 5 years of his career as a starter compared to what Tom Brady was able to achieve. Now, in terms of championship, Tom Brady won 3 championships, 3 Super Bowls in his first 5 years as a starter, but never won. He won 2 Super Bowl MVP. He never won regular season MVP. He played in the Pro Bowl just twice. He was never named to the All-Pro team. Patrick Mahomes, in 5 years as a starter, has played in 5 straight AFC championships, has been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 times regular season MVP, 2 times Super Bowl MVP, 5 times Pro Bowl, 5 times first team All-Pro, and all this before he turned 27. So based on that trajectory, a very funny statistics, which a lot of people are using now, Patrick Mahomes has never played a playoff game away from home. That shows you that his regular season form is so impeccable that every playoff game he has played, apart from the Super Bowl that is always played in neutral ground, has been in Kansas. That is an amazing testament to that. And similar to Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes takes team-friendly deals when he signs his contract, such that they can still surround him with good enough talent to make his team competitive. He's not greedy to ask for the supermax deals, because every time you sign your quarterback to supermax deals, you're pretty much telling the rest of your guys, we are not going to be competitive. We're not going to be competitive for the next 3 to 4 years until this deal is over. So all that, but Mahomes is now being compared to how Michael Jordan is deemed the GOAT, even though there is a Bill Russell that has 11 rings to Michael Jordan's 6. So now the same argument they were using against for Michael Jordan is now going to be used for Mahomes. The Mahomes does not need to win 7. All he has to do is match Joe Montana, the great San Francisco 49ers quarterback, by winning 4. That if Mahomes can win up to 4 Super Bowls, then he is by and large the best, simply because he is probably the most talented quarterback we have seen, at least in my own opinion, since I started following football. Such an amazing talent.
All right, perfect. I think we have Olawale here as well, which is great one. Oluwadamilare Abeshi said everything that could go wrong for the San Francisco 49ers went wrong, and he added a note to that. Welcome to the show, Olawale. We were thinking we were going to miss you on the show today. We already discussed about NBA, unfortunately. We talked about the NFL, and now we go to tennis, unfortunately. Sheyi, I'm going to come to you for the tennis. Carlos Alcaraz is back after his injury. He's playing the Argentine Open against Cameron Norrie in the final. How glad should the tennis world be happy that this kid is back? At least we know we have someone with the agility, maybe without the experience, but the agility to match the holders in Rafael Nadal and, of course, Djokovic.
Yeah, it's quite a good one for the young man to come back from injury. And the good thing for him is he's still young. So I believe coming back from injury won't really be a big problem. He should be able to get his feet on time compared to the older ones that they need to really, care about themselves. They rush into the game. So that's a good one. Also, it's already looking as if the beast, Novak, is going to be probably dominant this season. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
It seems is in a devastating kind of
form. He has a point to prove.
He's going to run anybody ragged at the moment. You need the likes of Carlos Alcaraz to come into the fold to actually make the men's version of tennis look competitive.
More competitive, yeah.
I think Rafael Nadal is actually passing his time. He will probably have a little bit of edge in the French Open, yes.
Open, yeah.
But I still think he has passed his, best.
Yeah. Honestly.
What I so far. Novak, I recall Australia Open when Novak was asked the question about what does he think about the younger generation coming after him. It was like, what do you mean? 35, 25.
I'm still here.
It seems Novak doesn't want to go. So we need the likes of Carlos to be at that top of the game to really show that there's a generation coming up. Enjoy male tennis once again.
Yeah, all right, perfect. Thank you very much for that wonderful analysis for the NFL. I said NFL for the tennis world. Olale, I know you are itchy to say one or two things about the NBA All-Star game.
All-Stars, yeah.
All-Star game. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to say one thing before we move to football.
Good evening, everyone. Wherever you are listening around the world. Well, I don't think there's anything much to say since you guys have already analyze it. I think the only probably innovation, probably something new that will be coming to the NBA playoff is that the selection of each team players. I'm sure Kachi must have touched this. It's going to be done right before the beginning of the game. It's just like the typical way we do when we play football on
choosing. When we used to play choosing on the streets of Lagos. Yes.
Yeah.
You have everybody at the center circle. There will be that. We start from the goalkeeper. Like mostly that's our tradition because you hardly find people who wants to probably volunteer to be the goalkeeper. Everybody wants to play. So when you have the two goalkeepers, then they start the selection, start picking and so on, so on. So I think something similar is going to happen. The two captains, right on the court, will select. I think they will start from the reserves. I think that was intentional because I think there is a way guys who are selected last feel about the whole thing. So after selecting the reserves, then they will now go to the what do you call it? I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to add to the drama. It's going to add to what do you call it? What they are
the glamour. And of course, Olale, I said something behind you. I said you are one of the introduction of the American version of things to the EPL. So I just wanted to mention that before I forget. Olatunji, I'm going back to you now. You said you have one or two things to say about the tennis. Go ahead, Olatunji.
Okay, yeah. So quick one. As at the beginning of the Australian Open, I was quite worried, and my worry was that all of the younger guys who had stayed very competitive in the past 2-3 years were out of form, and it just looked like, Novak was going to win all of the Grand Slam this year. This is my take as I when the Australian Open was on. But the good thing this week is the fact that everybody seems to be playing on point. Medvedev is amazing right now. Jannik Sinner is playing very well. Alcaraz is doing very well. Fritz is on point. So it makes me feel like, okay, we're going to have a very good season. Because the truth is, if they had played the way they did at the Australian Open, it wasn't like they didn't play well, but they didn't play at the level where they would match Novak. They were not going to match it. But right now, I feel 100%. Okay, it looks a bit better. We'll have a very competitive season, and probably I really want to see Medvedev win a Grand Slam this year. I think he has played so well, in the past couple of years. Not to forget Tsitsipas too. There are a lot of young guys that could actually do very well on the Grand Slam stage, but I really want to see Medvedev win a Grand Slam.
Like the right word that she used is just the correct word. Novak is just a beast. It's a bully, honestly. It's going to take you a high level mental dexterity, physical shape, and IQ to defeat someone like Novak. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I don't think any of those young kids can beat Novak on Novak's day unless something is wrong. Don't forget that at that Australian Open, by semi-final, Novak was actually injured. He tore one of his ligaments. And he still went ahead to win the Australian Open. So
convincingly.
Thank you very much for that one. Convincingly. So it's I don't know what was going to happen. Anyways, we'll go straight into football world right now, or soccer world, like they like to call it in North America.
I won't allow that your point to fly like that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
He said, I'm one of those that doesn't want the. Yes, I think I will stand by that. The NBA is the NBA for a reason. It is the culture. What do you call it? What do you call it? Premier League is the Premier League for a reason. I hope you realize that there was a time when the Premier League was introduced, they tried as much as possible to copy a lot of things from the NBA, which they eventually done themselves.
Yeah,
the halftime show, the cheerleaders, and all those things. They try to copy all these things. So I think everybody can have their own way of doing things without losing anything. I don't think you just have to copy something the way it is done in other places and to have a successful what do you call it. So I will not allow that one just to.
I just needed to put out there that you are one of the added antagonists of that. Yeah, I 100% understand your point of view. Culturally, East Coast, West Coast thing. It's a thing for the Americans. Bringing it to the Premier League might sound somehow. I'm not against it. Honestly, I'm all for an all-star game in the Premier League as well, a blockbuster. But maybe
the difference is this: there are too many games to look forward to in football beyond the All-Star. America NBA is just strictly the NBA. They can do.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but it's still going to put a little bit of spice in it, and maybe for that break, that much needed a break that they needed in January in the English Premier League, for instance, they could just bring in people from, I don't know, Manchester side of things, Manchester United, Man City versus the London guys, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, and the rest.
And they will do it. What do you call it? They will do the. What do you call it? They will introduce the. Sure, they will do their own 3-point challenge, create their own on Saturday.
It's going to be a nice one. It's going to be a bar shooting. You eat the bar.
Catches laughing.
Or you do a very eyeball control. It's okay. There's always an
of these words. Just go and bring Romario and go out of retirement.
All right. Olali, I'm going to stay with you. It's a good one. The fillers that we're having right now. Radcliffe is bidding for Manchester United. He's in the front with the Qatari. The owners of Manchester United have made it explicitly known that they are not going to sell the club for anything less than £6 billion. Anything less than that. Take it or leave it deal. And of course, I've forgotten what they call it in accounting. I think I've forgotten. You guys can help me. Kachi and Lawala, you guys can come. I think it's goodwill or something. The goodwill of Manchester United itself, I think it's way more than the £6 billion. It's Man is probably the most commercially marketed club in the world. And no disrespect to Real Madrid or Barcelona.
You just did. You just did.
No disrespect to them, but I that's just my own opinion. I stand to be corrected. Olale, for every ardent United fan, how excited should they be? We've seen the analysis of this Qatari. They will probably bring in more money than we ever seen in the history of the English Premier League. They are richer than the owners of Newcastle. United they are not a club that needs to worry about FFP. They make so much revenue. Balancing the book is not going to be so difficult. This is a team with glory, with goodwill, with huge potentials, even upturn events for them. Proud to these guys coming. So if United is spending, say, 500 million on transfer fee, there's always ways to balance the book for United compared to teams like City that had to start from the ground, Chelsea, Newcastle, that there will always be a financial car for them, given their history, their not so rich history. How excited should all United fans should be right now?
Yeah, for the fact that you have a Glazers leaving the club, no matter who eventually takes over,
Comes in.
just have to get too excited. The Glazers is an example of who you don't want to run your club.
You guys have not been complaining since the next time we,
No.
like
I
would point that out.
Whoever is not complaining doesn't probably understand United or doesn't things are being in the motion for a while, so it's better they let the fans allow it to go. In terms of United fans are excited, but at the same time there seems to be a little bit of division within, which is expected. Of course, trust the British media and there's some so-called match-going fans. You know how the British see their things. We started seeing a lot of complaint, which probably is up for debate. State ownership of clubs, does it bring in, as in whether it affects, what do you call it, the what will I say, fair competition in the game? Some people feel that any ownership from the Middle East has something to do with the, what do you call it, with the country itself. So there are reservations about that. There are reservations about human rights, all those rights for different level of people.
We don't want to hear that.
But of course, and there are other fans who feel like, from what we've heard, and Jim Ratcliffe from his I think from the reports we had from them, there will be what do you call it? Their bid is partly financed by debt, but what they are saying is company. I've forgotten the name of the company, the energy company, that they are the one that are going to house the loan. The debt is not going to be on Manchester United as a club, and which on one part has left a lot of fans a bit concerned. Like, no, we don't want to.
Are we seeing a repeat of what we had with
the Glazers? And some people have even pointed to the way they've run, the way he has run OG needs. That is it. They have not been, what do you call it? That, as in, it's not been a successful story so far, and so there will be as in the space now. You've seen argument for and argument against for both ownership, but everything lies in the hands of the Glazers. The Glazers will do what is best for them. I think
Yeah.
that's the most important need to take notes here. It is not about what is best for either United as a club or the fans. The Glazers will do what.
It's
If somebody is ready to pay 10
business.
million and
Yeah.
is ready to go and finance it by debt, the Glazers will go for that.
Yeah, it's business, nothing personal.
It's business. So I think, as excited as an average United fan will be, there is a bit of how will I say,
Concern.
bit of tension on suspense. How is it going to end? But I think if you follow a lot of fans channel, United stand, the people stand, which I think they are a little bit more representative of the fans' view. When you talk about the global fan view, most people are in favor of the Qatari ownership. When you talk about the typical British people who probably always want to set themselves as the example of how a decent human being or a normal person should live his life. They believe
Yeah, in favor of Ratcliffe.
They will take anything that is not
British
from the Middle East. Anything that is not from the Middle East, even if it's going to take the club 10 years backward, they would rather have that than having anything from the Middle East. So that's the question of things.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Shay, 1 or 2 words. Who are you favoring? How are you feeling the tension right now? Do you think it's going to be, let's see more money, the Saudis, the Qataris, and let's challenge. Whatever is happening with human rights in Saudi is not coming to the United Kingdom, But of course, they have their own views, their own political flawed. That's where I see it. Political views or human rights abuse views. Shay.
Yeah, I think they're already in football for a while now. We've seen the takeover of PSG, takeover of Man City. Newcastle seem to be the newest
new kid
takeover from the Middle East. So I think out of the norm there. Talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I think Olawale was trying to remember Ineos, the company that is, that they're trying to hold house the part of the debt that they used to finance Manchester United. To be sincere, I think I'll prefer the Qataris to take over. They seem to what we've seen so far is from the other clubs that the Arabs have taken over. They know that they actually don't really know about football, right? So they tend to bring in the people that will do the best for the club when it comes to footballing decisions.
Yeah,
and I think that is very key. That's number one. If you really look at the English billionaires that have really run clubs in recent time, seen the best out of those clubs so far. And if you have to look at that, I think from my point of view, I'd rather go for the Qataris. Number one, more money, which I really think the Glazers will go for more money. Like Olawale said, yeah, very 100% right. They'll do what is okay for them first, and whatever comes next. More money, then probably there will be that backing of a proper footballing project, proper 10-year project that you want to see. Manchester United is already a rich club. You were talking about revenue. They have it. Manchester United's revenue from gate takings is the highest in Europe. Despite that, we have other stadiums in Europe that are actually bigger than Old Trafford. They're talking about Nou Camp and I think Santiago Bernabeu. But the gate takings in terms of the amount, Manchester United actually have the highest in Europe. So when you talk about making the money back, it is there. So I believe the Qataris will really bring in money and leave it for the people that understand football to run it and back the projects.
All right, perfect. Balatiji, you're not a United fan, but what would be the best for the club at this point in time?
Well, I mean, it depends on it's perception basically.
Are you live in UK? Just so be careful not to. antagonized.
Well, I'm being careful, don't worry. So for me personally, I think, it's going to do them a lot of good if the Qataris take over. They have a lot of money. We've seen them, in recent time to have, been able to splash the kind of money needed, or to, take the kind of investments needed to increase, to propel the clubs further. But I have a concern basically, and the concern is it's going to continue to further take away fairness from the sport. He said something just now, that's Sheyi, that the way the British billionaires have, managed the club in recent time is quite different from the way the Arab guys have managed it. And it's simple. The British guys are businessmen. They actually want to make money. Well, the Qatari guys, to be candid, I don't even think they run these clubs to make money.
No, they don't.
They just want to spend. So the honest truth is, it is natural for, the investment and a bit of the decision making to be different. It's natural. It's just what's going to happen. But the problem now is that I can bet it with you. If the Manchester United takeover goes through, in the next 5 years, or maybe in the next 10 years, every club in England is going to be owned by the Qataris or the Arab guys. Because, it is the most watched league in the world. So they have a lot of attention on England. They're not really looking at Spain, Italy and the likes, because of course, what they want to do as well is to be visible. They just don't want to win this club. They want to be visible.
Yeah.
That's the main goal. So that's another, I want to believe that's another concern that the British people would have. Because you're probably talking about maybe 4 clubs now being owned by the Arabs. Possibly Newcastle, Man City,
PSG.
United is going to join. Before you know it, maybe one day we'll wake up and Arsenal, the pride of London, will belong to you as well. It's very possible.
Yeah.
It's likely going to happen. So those are the concerns I have. The kind of money that comes in, the investment that comes in, the fairness that's going to go from the sports.
That fairness disappeared the day the British allowed Roman Abramovich to take over Chelsea. That is the day the fairness disappeared.
But it's going to keep getting worse. It needs to be managed. It needs to be controlled at some point.
But actually, honestly, I feel, for me, strongly, and I stand to be corrected, guys, I feel for the issue of fairness, it's not going to really occur with Manchester United. And I would follow with what I said before now and buttress it with what Sheyi said. United is not a club that does not make the money.
Yeah.
United is a club that spent 1-point-something billion in because of how many
United has paid 1.5 billion in interest and loan for the Glazers. For a loan, the club itself never benefited.
But I'm talking about So and there are
little clubs that can stand that kind of
thing, and they are within the financial play rule. So United itself is not a club that the spending power would be. The spending power might be crazy, but it's still United. United can afford it even without the Qataris. If the club is being run very well, there's nothing that stops United from paying. United brought us into this craziness with the purchase of Pogba.
I understand your point perfectly.
Yeah, so hold on. So for me. Yeah, hold on. Let me finish. So for me, I think it's not going to be unfairness on United's parts. Personally, I don't think it's going to be unfairness on United fans because it's something that they are capable of doing with or without the Qataris. But I'll go ahead, please.
Yeah, I understand what Olatunji is saying. I understand you want him to have a little bit of level playing ground, and which is something you have to give to the Americans to an extent in most of the sports. And that's the reason why, if you really want that, probably you want a close sport in which probably we just have some few teams playing it, and there's a bit of all those teams can be owned by people who are equally probably have the same this thing. But I think football has always been a sport known for not to, let me say, in terms of spending power and backing, not too fair. I think we let a lot of things, we forgot a lot of things. The Italian teams, especially AC Milan and Inter Milan, under Silvio Berlusconi and what's it in the name of
Massimo Moratti.
Morata, those clubs benefited from some unfair advantage in the 80s and 90s. Massimo Morata's energy company at the time were the one carrying all the load
of Inter Milan.
In terms of their expenses. Inter during those period were not even able to generate the kind of money they were spending. So it has always been there. When Silvio Berlusconi was in AC Milan, it was an unfair advantage because at the point in time was the prime minister of the country, and whichever way you want to look at it, in as much as there's a bit of more transparency there, but again, they've had those. Some people even tell you that as far as they are concerned today, that Real Madrid is a state-owned club, whether you like it or not, in terms of the politicians that back the project. So football has always been I think the problem with football right from the onset was it was a sport set up more for recreational purpose.
You see,
for bragging rights, to enjoy ourselves, and over time, some certain things started coming in that football itself never prepared for.
Could not handle itself.
Can I quickly say something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I agree with everything you're saying, but you see, the Arab guys are different. I'm a Madrid fan, and I agree with you when you say Madrid is probably state-owned. Yes, Madrid actually goes to Bank of Spain to get money and all of those. We understand. But you see, they still have limitations. There are still things that Madrid will never do. The Arab guys can do anything. That's the point. Do you understand? The way they spend money is different from the way any institution actually spends money. Look at the World Cup that just finished. I told someone, I really want to see a country that is going to challenge Qatar to host that kind of World Cup again. And the truth is, in the next couple of years, the truth is that the World Cup needs to go back to the Middle East. It needs to go back to the Arabs because they are the only ones that can actually give us that kind of World Cup going forward. There is no economy that can commit that kind of money to building such facilities as we speak. And that's the problem I have. These guys are going to come in and they are going to splash. Look at how much they offered Mbappe. Come on. It is ridiculous. On that team alone, Mbappe hands like that. You probably go to Madrid and maybe one person was earning crazy. In PSG, they have about 5 players earning crazy. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you.
I totally understand your fair, but I'm saying what I'm saying is United as a club itself can play within that rule ultimately and fairly.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want us. I understand what you're saying. I want us to just oppose this and compare a Manchester United, and that's why I started this topic with saying it's probably the most commercial viable club in the whole wide world. I'm not saying in Europe, in the whole wide world. So they have the capacity. It's just going to be an enhancement of their capacity. Mm-hmm. That's the way I feel. It's like the Qataris buying Real Madrid. It's not going to change anything. Madrid can buy a 250 million pound player today.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It's just going to exactly, and they can stay within the financial play rule. So if the Qataris go to Madrid tomorrow and buy Madrid and buy 300 million pound player, Calderon will buy it. I'm talking about the former president, the useless one, compared to this one right now. What's his guy's? I've forgotten his name right now. The steel mogul. Perez. You know, even Ramon will buy 300 million pound player.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But when you now say, okay, Qatari billionaire is buying Everton, that's when we should start getting afraid. Like, oh, okay, now it's going to be, they will not be able to do things within their financial play rule. You know, like they did with Man City. I started cooking books, paying Mancini 1.7 million, and on their books is like 700k or 800k. You know, we'll see those kind of things, but it's not going to happen with the Madrid, the Barcelona, and Arsenal. We're not going to see it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's where I feel. Anyways, let's leave that aside. I'm pretty sure Shea and Olawale are very excited about that, and of course, I wish them well. And that brings the dexterity and the kind of innovation or competitiveness that we want in the Premier League. To the Champions League, Shea, I'm going to start with you. It's going to be Frankfurt versus the best striker right now in the world. And his name is Victor Osimhen. I don't care what anybody says. No striker is better than that guy in the whole wide world right now. I know people will tell you Alan is better. But I don't, you know, I don't. Quote and unquote. But for me, Osimhen is the best and probably one of the most creative midfielders in the whole of Europe as well. They have a fantastic coach leading the Serie A comfortably. Frankfurt is in trouble, if you ask me, even though it's away from home for Napoli. Shea.
Obviously, Frankfurt is in big trouble. Napoli is on fire. I think Napoli could probably pass for the best team in Europe for the last probably 4 months. This season, they've been on fire. They're untouchable in Italy. Quite untouchable in the Champions League also. The way they mesmerized the Liverpool team. Even though Liverpool this season, they've not also been in their right frame of mind and confidence, right? But we've seen the good build-up play of the Napoli team, the transition from defense to midfield to attack. And Osimhen, I think Osimhen just perfectly made for that Napoli team. The second team I think Osimhen is perfectly made for could probably be Manchester United. I don't want to talk about United, about Napoli, but obviously it's going to be a straight win for Napoli away from home.
All right, perfect. Do you agree with Shea? Is it going to be a straight victory for Napoli against Frankfurt in Germany?
Well, Napoli has a better chance. They are consistent. The confidence is high. And you know, in football, momentum is very critical. You know how good the players feel, the energy in the team, and all of those. So the way they play at the moment, I mean, they should have it very easy. But that said, this is football. You know, but I mean, as it stands, you know, on paper, Napoli should have it easy in Germany.
Okay. All right. Olale, do you agree with Shea and Olatunji?
Of course, I have to agree with them. I like the last point Olatunji make about momentum. That's something about football. When things start going your way and you have momentum, sometimes you feel you can do the undoable. And for now, they have the momentum. Everything is going their way. And another thing that we even need to point out is the kind of lead they have in the domestic league. I think they have like 14 or 15 point lead over their closest rival. They are not much under pressure. They could easily, as in, they can focus. They can put a lot, as in they can focus on their European adventure. And if things goes their way, they could eventually be one of the surprising team of this year's competition.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to stay with you, Olawale. It's going to be Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Talking about momentum, Liverpool are trying to build one for themselves, and this is Anfield. Anfield is crazy. That's just the truth.
Probably after the Galatasaray Stadium.
After the what? After the Galatasaray Stadium.
Yeah, there was that stadium.
Galatasaray Stadium. Yeah, the hell. Welcome to the hell. That's the worst. That's the worst. The worst stadium in the whole of Europe.
The next intimidating stadium
will be Borussia Dortmund.
Doing European nights is Anfield.
Anfield is
a crazy place to watch European football, and that's why at times when you look at Man City playing European football at night and you see everywhere silent, you feel like, what's going on here? Are these people actually playing European football? That aside, yeah. When this draw was made was it in November or December? I can't remember. December. I think in November.
Yeah.
I was so very sure that it was going to be a Real Madrid victory. right now, I still think it's going to Real Madrid are still favorites to win even the Tuesday games. But again, Liverpool has made a little bit of stride in terms of trying to gain back their momentum and confidence in the last few weeks. Do I think it's enough? Probably no. I see an exciting match. I see goals from both sides. I just don't think Liverpool have enough in terms of their midfield strength
to
cover
face up.
to cover up for, let me say, the shortcomings you have in your defense. They will score, and Madrid is going to score. I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this first leg, and I just feel Madrid probably will close it out in the second leg.
Santiago Bernabeu. Of course, Olatuji, what's your opinion? You think you guys are gonna win at Anfield? Anfield has been giving gifts to everybody since the start of the season, and they are low on confidence. So
Truth be told, I'm not really bothered about the fact that we're playing in England and Anfield. I mean, this is Real Madrid basically. The only concern I have is the fact that I don't exactly feel. Why are you laughing? This is Madrid. I mean, who cares? Who cares? I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is our competition. It's the energy. These guys. No, let's be realistic.
Yeah,
Average player in that team right now has won the Champions League about 3 times. You have the guys that have won it 4 times, 5 times. So their confidence is off the roof. They are good. You understand what I'm saying? However, I think the team is not playing very effective football at the moment. They're not doing badly, but like you said, if this were to be November when the draws was made, I think we're going to blow them away. But right now, they are not delivering as expected. So, and again, Liverpool they've been playing very well in the last 2 games, maybe like a week. That's not enough too. But I wouldn't exactly say that. I don't see Madrid losing anyways, but it might not be a very easy match for Real Madrid.
for Real Madrid.
A draw would suffice.
Yeah. Okay. Shay, what about you? You think it's gonna be a Madrid night, or is it gonna be?
I think it's going to be a classic European night. That's what I can see. Let's throw away the league. What's it called? The league form of Liverpool. Liverpool was nowhere to be found 2005 when they won the Champions League. Liverpool is when we talk about European nights in England, I think Liverpool should be the first team to talk about. Let's throw that out. It's going to be a game between 2 good teams. Of course, we've seen the problem that Liverpool is facing as regards their midfield. I think Ola mentioned that. But I still think Anfield will leave them a little bit. I see possibly a draw in this game, but probably Real Madrid might just edge it, the tie at the second leg. But I will not be surprised if Liverpool actually wins on Tuesday night.
Oh wow, that's an outtake. That's an outtake. Liverpool, Madrid. It's always good to see, to have them together. Liverpool have been victim of Real Madrid in the last couple of seasons. Without Real Madrid alive, Liverpool probably have 3 Champions League in the last 4 years or 5 years. Inter Milan versus Porto. Sheyi, I'm going to stay with you. Inter Milan won over the weekend, I guess 3-1, and they're going to be playing against Porto. Porto being Porto. You can't exactly say what kind of Porto you see on any night. Some days they're gonna be like, okay, we are ready for Champions League football, and sometimes you'll be like, okay, what's this team actually doing in Champions League? And Inter Milan, same goes for Inter Milan. They don't scream of confidence. They don't scream of ego. They don't scream of winners in the team when it comes to European night. What do you think is going to happen in this one at the San Siro Stadium?
Yeah, just like you said, the summary of it is these are 2 teams that is quite inconsistent at the moment, especially for this season. Inter, for the players they have, you really want to see that this is a team that should be pushing Napoli, to the wall in the Italian league. And even so far in the Champions League, I don't think they've really showed that quality that we're supposed to see, even though they had some good games in the group stages. But playing at home to a Porto that is also not convincing, I see them just edging this probably by the hard goal.
Okay. Olasunji, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll give it to Inter Milan.
Okay.
I mean, they're not so. The two teams are not playing excellent football at the moment, but I think, I mean, home advantage is going to play out here, and Inter Milan should be able to,
To do it.
Yeah.
All right, Olale.
It has to be Inter Milan. I think Shea and Latunji probably have done the most analysis. Both teams don't really playing well. Inter playing at home gives them advantage, and I think Inter will probably be comfortable playing with this kind of Porto team. I think we know the kind of teams that will give them problem, but it is not going to be Porto. It's not going to be a big margin game. My concern about Inter at times is I think in Europe they prefer to play with Dumfries in Europe than Damian. Then the choice between Lukaku and Edin Dzeko is going to be for me. I'll probably want Dzeko. I think he's more suited to their
So this kind of moments.
yes. So, but again, I just think Inter should be able to do it. It's not a fantastic team like that, but I think they should be able to handle Porto.
Okay, Olale, I'm going to stay with you. The Leipzig versus City. City coming up with their weirdness over the weekend. Maybe one of their eyes is set on this game. I don't know why Guardiola will be worried about this game. Honestly,
You know that I'm not sure Guardiola's decision that we've seen in recent times. I don't know. Somebody keeps saying something. There's something about which I don't. He said if other managers fumbles or make mistake, we said we either say they messed up or
castigate them. Yeah.
castigate them. But if it is Guardiola, we tend to say he overthinks.
Yeah,
But
that's because he's a genius.
But on a more serious note, this should be an easy, with all due respect to RB Leipzig, I think this should be an easy victory for Man City.
For Man City.
I think they have all within their arsenals to take care of this game. I think Mahrez is their most informed player right now, and we saw him. He was rested in the game against Forest. I think that is an indication that he's going to start for this game.
Uh-huh.
So for me, I think the only thing I just want to look at is, of late Guardiola has come up with a new formation. I don't know whether this was in preparation for European night with a formation that looks like a back three that looks like a 3-2-4-1 formation on paper that at times tends to have Bernardo Silva on the left side of either, I don't know whether it's a of left back or left wing back, which I don't know. I think they are going to win. I think the bigger question for them is going to be when you get to the latter stages and you start facing the Real Madrid of this world, the Bayern Munich of this world, whether it's going to stick with this very strange formation or it's going to go back, because whatever happened between the World Cup and now that just changes everything, that saw Bernardo Silva going, Cancelo joining this thing. I think I need an insider to tell me more about it. But I think for this game,
don't worry. Cancelo already told you that there's no problem. That he's grateful to Mr. Pep. Mr. Pep helped him and his family.
So I think they are going to win. I'm just looking at whether it's going to use that lineup that we've seen of him sticking with, that I think have not been effective, and the style of play that the way he wants. I have to give this one to you 100%. You saw this coming about
Erling Haaland.
The Erling Haaland, that at a time will come, Guardiola will probably want to influence the way he plays. I think now he wants Erling Haaland to play with a team more to be involved in a build-up play, which I think has not really been working. Is it going to work later? I don't know, but I don't think that's the strength. And it's affecting their performance overall. So I just want to see whether it's going to go back to the status quo of a normal Alan playing as a point man, playing a conventional guy at the left back, or is he going to stick with his new idea of 3-2-4-1 formation?
Don't worry. And Lallana will play as a left back. He uses left, right? Left wing back. Olatunji, what about you? Olawale said it's going to be a straight victory for CD, which I agree with him 100%. I don't like agreeing with Olawale, but on this one, I don't have a choice. Do you agree with Olawale?
Yes, I think so. Leipzig is conceding a lot of goals, and Man City tends to score a lot of goals. So, I mean, if you look at it from that angle, do the comparison between the players, man for man, bench for bench. I really don't see RB Leipzig coming out of this.
Yeah, all right, perfect. Shay, do you think we're going to see a repeat of what happened over the weekend where City got that goal and could not get an extra goal against Nottingham Forest? Or it's going to be a blowout for RB Leipzig? I fear for them.
Obviously, it cannot be like weekend. I think Nottingham Forest and Leipzig different teams playing two different football, and I think the way Leipzig plays will actually give the Arsenal to Manchester City players. Nottingham Forest, we had like probably 8 players in the box at every time that you see Man City try to attack them. They scored from the only shot on target, and it's that shows what actually happened. But obviously, you have to say, in Man City, you expect them to score nothing less than 2 goals in that particular match. So that's what happened. So talking about this Champions League match, I think City is going to win, because City will actually be able to play what they want to play. They need the space to run behind, to get Haaland to get on the ball quite well. And they will have that against I expect them to have that away win. Like Olawale said, I think the problem for Pep is when he meets more technical teams.
The problem of Pep. Pep has just one problem, and the problem is Pep Guardiola
himself.
Just one problem. He's a genius.
I've told you.
He has just one problem.
Pep is this. If you notice Pep, I don't know whether you've seen Pep's eyes when he answers questions at press conferences. You see someone that looks at those journalists as fools. Let me say it, like, you guys don't know anything.
Well, okay.
About teach you football. I don't think Pep rates a lot of people in football. It doesn't say, as in, it's not, Jose Mourinho, one thing about Jose, he's going to tell you the way it is. This is the way I feel about it. But I think Pep has there's a way he looks at most people like, you guys don't have an idea of what I'm trying to do. You guys don't get it. That's the way he looks at most of us. So,
I don't have a problem with Pep when it comes to what Olawale is saying, as a matter of fact. And you know what? You see, I mean, this is from probably the field where I work. When you create a functional model, right, one of the things you need to continue to do is to optimize that model. And I think that's what Pep tries to do all the time. So he has a team that is working, yes. Like Mourinho, he's going to stick to that team because he just wants to win the game. That's the mentality for Mourinho. He wants to win and he wants to go away. Pep does not exactly just want to win. He wants to win in a way that he can tell himself, okay, this is better. So every time he looks at the game, he sees 1 or 2 things he can change and get the best out of it. Is it good? I think it is. Does he have his shortcomings? Obviously, because he's going to lose some games in trying to do that. But you know what is going to happen eventually is he will end up finding new ideas and new ways to do all of these things. There was a time where a lot of people were not playing with false nines and all of this, but he started doing all of it. He tried everything possible with that Barcelona team, and he won. Yes, maybe he had the kind of players that could get him those results. But Pep will not stop optimizing that team. He will not stop tweaking it. He will not stop improving it. Let's get used to it.
Are we talking about the same guy that has not won the Champions League without Messi?
Neighbor is okay. Don't go there.
Which
I
is-
like that one.
That still doesn't mean anything.
Over a
Okay. Okay.
Anything.
Okay. Don't let's. Are you talking
Then
about?
you know when
Are you talking about the same guy that fumbled
Because
the
he's not
guy?
winning Champions League.
If
He
you-
doesn't take anything away from
Fumbled. He fumbled the bag against Chelsea in the Champions League final by playing Kevin De Bruyne as
That's what I'm
first nine.
saying. He's going to have some bad days. It's going to happen.
You don't have bad days on the most important days.
Listen,
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Listen, there are manufacturers in this world that come up with products that are terrible. It doesn't mean they are not good. If
Ola-
you get better products,
Olatuji, you don't fumble the bag on the most important days.
it's going to happen. Everybody has done it.
You don't do it. You don't do
When
it
guys-
over and over again.
When
You don't
guys-
do it over and over again.
Listen,
You don't do it over and over again. It doesn't make to me. It doesn't make sense. See,
Well,
so
to you.
I understand the fact that he wants to revolutionize football. He wants to do the Johan Cruyff thing. He wants to do tiki taka. He wants to do this. He wants to do that.
yeah.
But some things it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What he did last season against Atletico Madrid actually made sense. It was pragmatic.
yeah.
You need pragmatism in coaching.
I
That's
agree.
the truth.
Let me
I still
cut
not
you
gonna
off.
tell you.
I don't want to stay on. I know if we stay on Pep, you will probably not leave Pep today. So let's leave Pep for a while and let's go back to the English Premier League. Olale, I'm going to start. I said Sheyi. Olale, I'm going to stay with you on this one. We saw Arsenal fumbling the bag against City in the middle of the week, and they came back against Aston Villa. We know, and all respect to Unai Emery, is going to play football the correct way. Whether he's going to lose is another thing. He's going to play football the correct way. So it did not come out to play a defensive or a low block defense against Arsenal. He played the correct way against Arsenal, took an early lead, led 2-1 at a point against Arsenal with quality goals from Ollie Watkins and of course Philippe Coutinho in the long run. So it was 2-1. Arsenal came back. How important do you think this helped Arsenal in their confidence level? And one more thing, Olatuji. Okay, I'm thinking I should save the question, but I'll ask you the question as well. I see Jorginho playing in the middle of the park for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I've seen stuff on the street of Twitter. People are saying Jorginho being tempo, but I'm seeing a guy that now I appreciate what Partey brings to that team. I appreciate the cerebral thing that Partey brings to the team. Looking at Jorginho controls it. I don't know. Maybe I don't understand football that much.
Yeah.
Jorginho is controlling in their own way, but you see what Partey brings, and you see the fact that Xhaka now has to come back to help defensively.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm seeing Partey as he's not human. If he played that role alone, single-handedly, helping in the attack, helping in the defense, single-handedly for the past 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And whenever he's not playing, you see it. And we know, as Emeka once said, I bought a player for £40 million that cannot make a tackle. And we see it with Xhaka. And once that Xhaka is going to implode. You know, how well do you think this helped us now win the game in the long run, 4-2? And how well do you think when Partey comes back, fitting back into that team with Jorginho?
Well, okay, so I think I'll start with what the victory does for Arsenal as a team, basically. After the loss to Man City, some of us expected, a big dip in Arsenal's form. Because like we said earlier, it's a confidence thing, basically. When a team like Man City comes that close to you, it is not very nice. And there's a way, kind of affects your psyche.
Affects your psyche,
because,
yeah.
You feel I'm probably not going to get it right anymore. But with this win, and then coupled with the fact that City didn't get a win, I am sure right now they feel very comfortable again, and then they can exactly play the kind of expressive football
they want
to play, because it is important for you to play the way you want to play, not under pressure, not you playing scared, waiting for the next result. So I think that's the good thing about that result for them. They will be able to play exactly the way they want to play as a team. Now, back to Partey. The truth is, everybody is not going to play exactly the same way. And in football, we'll have this set of people who would be 1 in a million kind of players. we have Kante in Chelsea, which we can all see they are missing him greatly. We had the Makalele in Madrid. There was a Vieira. Some of these guys are exceptional, but the truth too is that we can't take away what Jorginho brings to play. It's not possible. Anybody that wants to overlook what he brings to the play as well, I think is not being fair on the kind of player that Jorginho is. Honest truth is, can they play together? I'm sure. I mean, that's the coach's problem. He would have looked at this before bringing Jorginho in. Chances are he has options. I'm sure right now he had looked at it. Okay, when this guy comes back, how do I intend to play? Both of them together. Is somebody going to supplement him? Is somebody going to cover up for him? Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, we saw it in Madrid when we had a midfielder that doesn't tackle at all. He just want to play make, right? But it was complemented by someone else. And I think that is football, basically. That's why it is a team sport. If you have a midfielder that can't tackle, it is common sense for you to complete, and you need to play him, right? It is common sense for you to complement him with the person who is going to do the tackling, who is going to do the dirty job for him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
100%.
Balancing out the team and seeing how they will play up, to the best of their abilities. Basically. I don't think I will put him coming to the team.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Alali, I'm going to come to you. Zinchenko played a huge part in the victory, with that comeback goal that he scored, that second goal that he scored. And in the past couple of weeks, people have been castigating Zinchenko. It helps with the inverted midfield role that he plays as well. But people have been questioning his defensive ability and the fact that there needs to be like a switch, maybe towards the end of the game, for someone like Kereteri that is more direct and will help whoever is hogging the touchline more. Do you think this is a correct notion?
Yeah, defensively, Kereteri is better at one-on-one defending than Zinchenko, of course. If you recall, Zinchenko actually started his career as a left winger. It was at City that Pep I was highly rated in his days at Ukraine. It was Pep that converted him to a left back. And if you see the way he has been playing since he joined us now, of course, rightly so, he tries to drop into that midfield role, create a little bit of overload for Arsenal in those areas. But again, one good thing about football is for every tactics and every innovation, it comes with its own shortcomings. And the shortcomings, leaving that left side for the opposing wingers probably to explore if the opposing team eventually have the chance to do so. I think that is what Arteta has been doing so far, as far as I can recall. We've seen mostly towards the end of the game, you see him introducing Tierney to bring in that defensive solidity into the team. So I think that is probably okay. He's one of the most important players for Arsenal, to be sincere. He's an emotional guy. He try. You could see he wears his heart on his sleeve. Exactly, he's that kind of a guy, and I think he has a kind of positive influence within the team, probably just like Odegaard and co. So I think it works for it works for Arsenal very well, because that again gives Granit Xhaka a little bit of chance. If you look at Granit Xhaka's average position, especially when Thomas Partey plays, he plays a little bit higher up the pitch within the opposite or the opponent. What do you call it? I have a lot, so, and that's because of the kind of position Zinchenko takes at time. If you see Zinchenko heat map, you see him more within the midfield area, middle of the park, and down on the left side, that left back. So I think that is the same thing Pep has been doing. Arteta has been doing all through the season. If you observe, Zinchenko hardly finishes most of their games. He comes out of the game around that 68, 70 minutes thereabout, when most times they are leading the match.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And of course, Shey, I'm going to come to you. United cannot run away from the fact that they are in the title race
No,
anymore.
United is doing that ways.
You can convince yourself with that, Olawale. But honestly, I don't think United can convince themselves. Honestly, 2 points away from Manchester City, 5 off Arsenal. It's a good time. They have a solid coach. They have a goal scoring machine right now in Rashford. He has been scoring since he came back from the World Cup. Rejuvenated, like the English would say it, and it's been from one good point to another. Is it about time that everybody sits upright at Ultra Four side of things and think, okay, this is our opportunity. Once, if Arsenal, no, not once, if Arsenal or City fumbles the bag, this is our chance to take the lead on this one.
Okay, like I said at the beginning of the show, United is not in the race, but it seems Arsenal and Man City are actually dragging you into this race. So that's the way I see it. I think United is quite kind of settled right now when it comes to Champions League football. Worst case scenario, they will seal the top 3 position and look at other competitions to win. That is what I'm seeing right now. However, in the next round of 3 matches, if anything happens and United finds themselves in the second position, then there's possibility of you talking about fighting for the title. Because if the opportunity, it's like if a carrot is dangled in front of you, what you want to do is to bite it, right? So So I think in the next, I think United is going to be playing Liverpool next. If United wins at I think Anfield, and City and Arsenal decide to drop points while United is playing a Carabao Cup, then it actually throws the league wide open.
Wide open.
But personally, as a United fan, I don't think United needs to be carried away. I also don't think the coach is being carried away. What I've seen him do is to also rest his players. He lost some to suspension, which gives them automatic rest. He's able to use other competition. Like Sabisa was banned for the
Europa League.
So that was a rest for him. He was able to play. Casemiro was banned for the league. So that gives him the opportunity. Also, the likes of, I think, what's his name? The Scottish midfielder is back also.
Okay, McTominay.
McTominay is as an additional body in the midfield to rest players. And I think that is actually what is working for Manchester United at the moment. He's able to rest his players. Rafael Varane has not played matches he's not supposed to play. We know he's injury prone and he's old. So he has been able to manage his players very well. That might be the positive thing for that Manchester United team. Because if they manage to keep that team, that solidity to the end of the season, there's possibility of them talking about top 2 in the EPL.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olawale. I see something, and I'm pretty sure I said this at the start of the season as well. I see something special in Erik ten Hag every time I see it. The last time, and I'm thinking far back right now, the last time I see a coach do this, rotate players effectively, was Sir Alex Ferguson, where he had like 4 strikers in his team, and all of them were happy. And I mean, players like Sheringham, Dwight York, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Andy Cole, I think, back then. And you have people like Blomqvist, Ryan Giggs, everybody, Nicky Butt, they were all happy. Everybody plays their parts. And we're seeing the same thing in Erik ten Hag as well. Honestly, this is a project for the future. But the project is like a year or 2 years early. Do you agree with me?
Yeah. If you looking at the squad, as in the depth of the United squad at the beginning of the season, if you tell me United will be in a comfortable third position in February, I'll probably say no, especially after those two games, the Brighton and the Brentford
Not the
game.
Brentford game.
I would say no, but again, we have to acknowledge that Liverpool's surprising drop in form has probably helped things a little bit. Chelsea lack of direction on their own part too. Yes, has made things a little bit. But yes, just focusing on the team as a whole, I think he has done more than what probably a lot of people
Was expected.
Expected of him. And I think we have seen a coach who is willing to do different things, especially when he's short of options. One thing I probably have to commend him for is the way he has handled the Harry Maguire, what do you call it?
Situation.
I think a lot of us focus on the Ronaldo incident more than the way he has handled some other things. Probably some other coaches wouldn't have probably done that. I think results has also helped him to be able to stamp his authority on the team easily. You know, at times when you take some risky decision, if it backfires,
that's the end.
you know there is a way people will come for you, and so I
Like-
think results
Like playing a Wobie in the middle of the
you
park.
understand, or playing Shaw in the centre back position. I'm sure everybody wants to do it now. So I think he has taken some risky decision. You can see his imprint gradually coming into that team. You see a coach I think he has been able to manage the little, for somebody who's been able to manage little resources with him right now. I think if you entrust him, and I think his eye for player is very, very, I can tell you, United going for Sabitzer has nothing to do with those guys that caused them the director of football. It's an Erik ten Hag decision. United were not, they made up their mind that they were not going to do any transfer in January. They brought him records because of Martial's injuries record. It was a forced idea. Ten Hag actually wanted either Gakpo or Joao Felix, but those ones were too expensive for them for January. The Sabitzer was just because of the injury to Christian Eriksen. And it was the one that single-handedly identified. You could see the kind of players he'd be able to bring in and how they've been very effective. Overall, I think he has as the way he has handled Sancho's case too. It's not like I don't like this player, but he identified that Sancho's was deeply affected when he was dropped from that World Cup team.
The World Cup squad.
I think that's affected him, and I think the man management side of it might not be 100% perfect. Of course, even Alex Ferguson, the Jose Mourinho of this world were not 100% perfect with their man management, and those are guys who are very good at man management. I think we started seeing the way he has been able to get Sancho back into the team. It looks like a new signing. Overall, he's done well so far, but we just have to see where he can take the project to. We see some coaches. He has displayed an idea of, I know what I am doing. You can clearly see.
100%. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Alali. Honestly, I'm going to come to you now. What exactly is happening at Stamford Bridge? Everybody's pointing, accusing fingers. I know Chelsea fans don't like people analyzing their club, and that's because most of them doesn't understand one thing about football. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth. But what exactly is happening at Stamford Bridge?
You know that song that says, "If you ask me, you ask." That's a lifetime mood, anyways. But I mean, honestly, it's difficult to say this is the real problem. It's difficult actually, but I think one very clear thing is you probably have in the past 1 year more than 10 players that are new in that club. So I think we should expect that it's going to take them a bit of time
to work efficiently.
And I really don't understand the thought process behind the whole signing. I mean,
No,
it's
no,
scary.
no one does.
Nobody understand except Chelsea fans.
It's scary. I mean, I don't know how you bring in too many players without selling some. In a certain position, they probably have like 5 players who are supposed to be playing, not even French players. If you have French
Yeah.
players, you can understand, okay, this is why, days of when they had the Lukaku or when they were younger and you could loan them out. These are even players you can't loan because they are top players. They are earning well. Do you understand? It's really difficult. And my worry is, the major worry I have right here is they might end up sacking the coach, and whoever they bring in is going to sign more players.
And that's I guess that's the sentiment of everybody at this start.
That's the bigger problem.
So yeah, I'm correct, right? I'm correct, right? That's a sentiment. Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's not the right decision at the moment?
To sack Graham Potter.
Well, maybe, but like I said, probably they should sack him. But my worry is the next coach is going to need some players as well, because he has a different philosophies, anyways.
Maybe
so by the time he comes and he says, for example, you bring in a Mourinho, everybody knows that Mourinho is going to request for minimum of 2 signings. 2 or 3.
Do you think they can bring in Zidane?
Zidane no go now. Do you want to kill him? I don't think he's going to take the job. Yes, he likes challenges, but I don't think he's going to take that kind of job. It's a difficult one at the moment. However, don't forget too, Zidane might be the kind of coach they need, because we've seen in the past that Zidane can actually play with a lot of system. So Zidane might probably be the guy that would not necessarily need a whole lot of players to join. He just wants to offload. That might be the kind of guy they need anyways, but I don't see Zidane taking that kind of job.
If they get Luis Enrique, if they get someone like Luis Enrique, they want to sign the kind of player.
He will sign.
But honestly, before you go on, the game they played against Southampton, they were just unlucky. They were supposed to be.
I agree. They played very well. They played very well.
But I've seen every Chelsea father I've seen has castigated Potter. We've been saying this for so many years about Mason Mount. And I will always tell you, that guy cannot play that position. He does not have the IQ.
So
if I'm as Graham Potter, hold on. If I'm as Graham Potter, what I have is Mason Mount. Am I going to kill him? I want to play him now. I can't kill him. I have to play him. How do you spend that much money? All I
was playing Harvard essentially. Let's not say it the way it is. Chelsea, as it stands now, is not a serious club when it comes to planning. See, Olatunji, there is something. Pep Guardiola is one coach I like a lot. There are a lot of people that feel like if you are a United fan, you should hate Pep Guardiola. I don't belong to those school of thought. I don't watch football like that. In as much as he overthinks a lot, he's one coach. There's people tends to look at the City success and just want to make it all about money. Like the only reason why they are successful is all the money. I understand that, yes, 2 things can be right at the same time. Does City have advantage over other teams in terms of availability of funds? Yes. As Pep Guardiola and those 2 guys, those Spanish guys they brought in from Barcelona, and they've done a lot of good job in terms of utilizing the fund very well. Yes. And I think that is the part most people are always genuine. It's not like they don't know, they intentionally tends to don't want to look at it. Now, a team has spent over 600 million pounds now, and we are not seeing anything. This is due to lack of planning. Now, where the Chelsea problem started from, they had their issues from last season. Fine. You allow a Thomas Tuchel to sign a lot of players that suit his own idea and system.
And then you sack him.
I am not sure that Thomas Tuchel was sacked because of those bad results in the early part of the season.
No.
So if you have that idea that you're going to sack him, why allow him to spend such amount of money on players that suit his own style of play alone? Now you brought in a new coach, and when you do this kind of thing, you don't go for the risky appointment. You go for a seasoned coach who could probably turn things around with whatever he has on ground. And this is where a coach like Ancelotti comes in. He doesn't need Ancelotti will work with anything you give him.
Is Gosinic still alive?
He's still alive. That's what I think.
They should not go for Gusidi. Honestly, honestly, if they're going to sack the reporter, they should go for someone like Gusidi.
Now, my own problem is even with, like, you said something about Aubameyang's, what do you call it? Body language.
Yeah.
There is nothing that anybody can tell me in terms of football that will make me start a Kai Havertz over Aubameyang. No matter how bad and how poor Aubameyang, what do you call it? Body languages.
By B.
I'll trust him ahead of. So they now in January with everything that I don't know for the reason left to them, they were signing players all over the place. With some ridiculous price, which I don't want to go into players' price at time, but I still think letting Jorginho leave at that time was even a wrong move.
No, Jorginho leaving is one of the worst thing that could have happened to them. Jorginho would have complimented Enzo Fernandez.
And it gives you a tactical flexibility when you have even Kovacic around.
Exactly.
Now, I think this is even the time you could make use of an Aubameyang very well when you have those Joao Felix around, not people like Mount or Kai Havertz around him.
Yeah.
So on the part of the coach too, when you have too many players like this is the time. This is the time I think you need to stick with a starting 11 for a period of time. Let them get used to themselves. See. Yeah. When United won the treble, some players were playing. I don't understand this idea of. I understand that you could rest players, fine. But see, when United won the treble, they probably won it with like 16 players. There were players consistently playing on Saturday, playing on Wednesday. I don't see the reason why he had to change that much in terms of his starting line. You need those guys to quickly gel as soon as possible. This is not the time.
When you have like 40 players, that's what you get.
So for me, the bottom line is lack of planning.
Because back to what you said, I can remember a particular season with Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. And Jose was like, I need just 25 players for the season. As if Jose was going for a World Cup. I need just 25 players. That's all I needed. And that year he won the league. How do you even coach like
13 players?
How do you even coach like 40 players? This week you play loose all as left back. Next week you are playing Cucurella.
At this stage, you need to stick with a certain number of, as in let them get used to themselves. Why not starting Modric in that game? This is a guy you probably have to be using. The other game,
is no good. See, that's the problem. They were buying players that was no good to fit into the system. Let's analyze. Hold on. Let's analyze the system of Graham Potter when he was at Brighton and Hove. Does he play with players, flexible players like Modric and Joao Felix in his team? He does not. That's the problem. I know all these players that Chelsea have gotten so far, and I'm not disrespect to Chelsea and whatever it is that they are doing. And like I said before this show, maybe there's an idea to it that we don't see right now. Maybe we'll see it in the future. Maybe not.
Maybe.
But this player that they've gotten right now does not even fit into the coaching philosophy of the attack of their gaffer. Olale, I know. Olatunji, I know you guys understand football so much.
Now, wait, but look at it. Yeah, let me say why I will agree with you is this. Arsenal identified Modric. I'm not sure if Arsenal have not probably gone for Modric. I'm not sure Chelsea will. All those things that Chelsea have been doing, blah, blah, blah. No. It was because of Arsenal wanted to buy him. Now, Joao Felix was seriously linked to United and Arsenal. But those ones were not ready to pay the loan fee that Atletico Madrid and Chelsea, in their right sense, that was looking for a centre forward, thinks it was Joao Felix that was going to solve the centre forward problem.
That will solve their centre forward problem. when everybody knows that Wafelis is not a conventional number 9. You need a goal striker.
And I think the issue right from the onset has always been, for me, I see you Havertz cannot be in a serious team. I've said it. What is Havertz's role in a
You know my problem with Havertz?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, I asked one question from the people that you know I had conversations with. If you have only one natural striker in your team, you have only one in Lukaku, right?
Yeah.
And then you wake up
and start doing the work.
Exactly.
I don't understand.
Thank you.
What are you having to do? I don't understand. Lukaku is going to score 20 goals, right? He's going to score about 15 to 20 goals.
100%.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I told them on last season that Chelsea Lukaku wasn't the problem. The service were not coming.
No, exactly.
And then you sell him off. And then you choose to not play Havertz as the top striker.
It was Thomas Tuchel that sanctioned that loan deal to Inter Milan.
That's why I tell people you might not
like I think at that point they had honestly, Olale, I feel for me, and I start to be corrected, guys. Sheyi, and I'm looking at you. I strongly feel Chelsea needs someone like Michael Emiliano to come back to that team. His role at Chelsea was seriously underestimated. What he did when Emiliano was at Chelsea, it was signing players that they would resell at later years. Players like Broja, and you go and bring in Madueke from PSV. Mukalo Modric from Shakhtar Donetsk. If you want to sell, okay, now for instance, I'm going to tell you something about Modric right now. He has played as a substitute 4 times in the Premier League as well. Already started 1 game. No successful take on, no successful pass. Like everything was 0 for Modric, and this guy was bought for 88 million. And that's not because Modric is a bad player. I'm not going to come on this show and say Modric is a bad player, but it doesn't fit into that system. Modric needs to play like Gabriel Martinelli at Arsenal, hugging the third line, isolating defenders towards himself. One of those situations. Exactly. That's where the guy will fit in. I don't know. Chelsea is just all over the place. Anyways, they lost 1-0 at home against Southampton. And Olamide, I agree with you. Graham Potter has been a bit of a problem himself. But I think the hierarchy at Chelsea need to look themselves in the mirror. And
that's where they have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
You have to be deliberate. It's just about you see in the off season, in as much as United have a terrible management in terms of people who manages the team, I think Ten Hag has been able to influence them a little bit. If you look at the profile of the players, probably Anthony is the only one I felt. Probably I'm looking at the price tag. Probably if Anthony has gone for like 40 million, probably I've not be expecting too much for him like that.
Too much for him.
He has been very deliberate in the kind of players he has brought in. And if you see Lisandro Martinez, one thing Lisandro Martinez does for the team, he is smoothing the transition of the ball from defense easily.
Yeah.
If you watch the game against Leeds last week, United were all over the place for like 70-something minutes. When he came in, you see that transition was better. He complements Varane very well. Transiting the ball from defense is not Varane's what do you call it?
Strength.
It complements him very well. If you know the reason why he was looking for Frankie de Jong, look at what Christian Eriksen was doing. Of course, something tells me Casemiro was not his signing, but
yeah, 100%.
As a good coach, he has eventually realized how important. Did you see his face when Casemiro took that 50-year look at against Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
He was just shaking his head like,
Like no, yeah.
Casemiro might not be his signing, but he later realized how important it could be to him.
That's because they've not been sacking coaches the way Chelsea have been sacking coaches. That's because they've not been all over the place. That's why I said they need someone like a Milano. And I agree. If they want to sack Graham Potter, I don't think Graham Potter is the problem. Personally,
I don't think he can manage this team the way it is now.
This team is a problematic team. It's problem. You have players, you can't use them. You have too much players. At a point, I don't know. Chelsea is just all over the place. I don't want to talk about.
They need a problematic coach.
Like Jose Mourinho.
Finish. He's going to come in. He's going to look at 10, 15 players and tell them to go.
Exactly.
Jose will do that. Go. I think he work with 75 guys that he has.
Jose will do that. Jose will do that.
He's going to come and say, these guys, I don't want them. Let them.
I don't want you. We'll tell you, like, I like you. I like you very much. I like you so much. But you have to look for any club.
But Debo, I think the fact is they know that they are still going to sell because they keep buying. That's not the problem. The problem is what they've bought. How do they make use of it? The ones they have on ground, how do they make use of them? How do you create a team? How do you create a system? I see Chelsea players make fantastic runs and take too many touches when you can actually release the ball to the person in free space. So that shows that there is no system. There is no place where they know that a midfielder knows where to find the striker or the winger. It's not there. So that's the issue. And for me, for the last 2-3 months now, we're saying the same thing. And a coach changing his players almost every now and then. It's total rubbish.
Starting 11 and let them get used to themselves. Rather than
yes.
Why are you resting? Okay, I could understand with James because of his injury history. But the Modric that he just bought, let him be playing constantly. Let them get used to themselves. This is not the time to be experimenting. It's not off-season.
So, quick one, please. Sheyi made a point that I think we need to look at in a different way. So he said he knows very well that they are going to sell players, right? And I agree, but this is the problem that's going to happen. If you look at the valuation of the player they bought this January transfer window, right? About 300 million, right?
Yeah.
You bring those players to the transfer market today with what we have seen so far. I'm not sure they will even make up to 100 million. And that's where the problem is going to start. So by the time you are offering, somebody you bought for 80 million back to the market, and everybody's saying we can't pay that much. And the guys, do you know what happened with Gareth Bale in Madrid? And the guy is earning maybe 200,000, and then the club you're offering him to says you can only pay him 100,000. It's still going to be a problem.
It will sit at this.
There was a time that Chelsea had close to 12 to 15 players on loan at the point.
They were younger players.
But
the point is,
they were not earning a lot.
But the point is, if Chelsea can't play them and they can't pay their salary, they have to go on loan one way or the other.
You forget that the club that is taking them on loan needs to pay.
Nobody will
take. It depends on the structure. It depends on the structure.
Don't forget that when Gareth Bale went on loan, Madrid was paying half of his salary.
Take for instance now. Take for instance now. I wouldn't pay Akanziek 250k every week.
Do you understand?
I won't pay Pulisic 180k per week if I'm the club that is going to take him on loan. I wouldn't.
The problem is on Chelsea, but Chelsea needs to find a way around it, and the best way is to send some of these players on loan. Why?
Okay.
Majority of them would not really play, and they will still earn this money. So what's the point keeping them in your books and still not make?
So you can just go. You pay like 50% of the salary, and they will go.
Exactly.
But realistically, so is it like an agreement between us right now that Chelsea needs to stack Graham Potter, get a coach that is experienced, that can handle this kind of situation? Because this is their situation, and Graham Potter looks like a nice guy. He's not like Mikel Arteta. Arteta is not nice.
I am the
could be
second
nice.
coach option.
I think they should
Yeah.
look for
What-
maybe
what-
even a Benitez to come and sort them out for 1 or 2 seasons.
Ah.
They need old because I can't
The
see
only
them
person
get
I think they can
somebody
get
sensible
is
at the
Real
moment.
Madrid. They should bet Real Madrid and give them.
That's
No,
Carlos.
Argentina will not leave. Argentina will not leave. They can,
Going to
and I
Brazil.
don't think
I said they should beg. You
Gusidik
don't
is
understand what I'm saying. They should beg them.
Gusidik is
Gusidik is
right
too
now,
old.
Gusidik
There's another
needs
coach.
to be
There's
rested.
another coach.
yeah. Who's the other coach?
Sunday Olise. They need somebody that is just stubborn. Somebody that is just very stubborn. Someone that will just say, "Oh yeah, you don't come to this facility again."
Don't come to training again. Don't worry.
don't
We don't need you again. Because realistically, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. I see Madueke, and I'm wondering what's Madueke doing in Chelsea? What's he doing? Olawale, I'm asking you, what's Madueke doing in Chelsea?
You know me. You know they've told us already in Sport Freak that we should not talk about Chelsea again.
What's he doing? What's he doing in Chelsea?
I will not say anything about Chelsea.
I say I don't understand. It's not like
what I'm saying. The bottom line is this: everything's all about planning, and that's why I said at times we deliberately at times, in as much as I think it's a bit of a let me say, the minus for me, like Pep now, it will be disappointing for his career if he doesn't win the Champions League at Man City, because I think he has had like 3 good chances for him to have won it.
Yeah.
But I will never want to let me say, attribute his success
To just
only
money.
to money. He knows what he's doing. I think this is what we are seeing at Chelsea now, because they've spent money without planning or being deliberate about it. So this is it. You can spend money on anyhow you like it. If look at the success rate of Man City signing. It is very high. Their success rate is very high. You can hardly see anyone, even the guys that have left, most of them is not because they've not done very well. Probably those few signings, I think those 2 or 3 signings in Pep's first season. Now, probably the goalkeeper, Nolito,
Yeah.
most of their signings have worked, which means they've been very deliberate about the kind of
That's
guys
who they get.
there is a plan behind it. It's not just a wishful thinking of
Like okay. As Arsenal wants money, let's go for him.
let's go for
Man
it.
U wants Felix, let's go for him.
Let's go for it.
I hope that's not what they're doing though. I sincerely hope it. I sincerely hope, because 600 million is a whole lot of money. Anyways, Wolverhampton continued in a bad manner, considering how they played in the past couple of weeks, losing at home against Bournemouth. Richarlison, 0 goal, 0 assists, both for £60 million. A shamble of a player, a shame of a player at Tottenham Hotspur right now. Although Spurs managed to win at West Ham 2-0. I don't know what is happening with Richarlison. Richarlison that we saw at the World Cup and the one that Spurs are 2 different individuals, if you ask me. Brentford played a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace, and of course Everton defeated Leeds United 1-0. Brighton and Hove lost against Fulham 1-0, and City gave Arsenal a wonderful gift after defeating them by drawing against Forest. Before we leave on the show, Olawale, Olatunji, and Sheyi, Olawale, I'm going to start with you. What's happening with Richarlison? I don't understand.
Now, it's not a Richarlison question. It's probably, I think it's a coaching problem. And again, at times when you bring in players non-properly analyze, is this probably what you want or what? When they sign Richarlison, my first question is, where is he going to play? Is he going to start ahead of Kane? I don't think so. Okay, he plays on the left. Is he going to start ahead of Son? I don't think so. On the right, is he really comfortable on the right? Is that not? I think when you talk, because the way Spurs play, they lack natural creativity. But when they play Kulichevsky on that right, it brings a little bit of playmaking into their team.
Yeah.
You see them, so I don't see him playing from there, from that position. So I think I will not say that. Again, you have to look at Spurs as a team as a whole. How have they
But-
performed?
But he has gotten at least an assist or a goal.
Son has only scored 4 goals this season. 3 goals, the one he scored as a substitute and the one he scored
Against
today
Leicester City.
in the Premier League. So it's a team problem, sincerely, because even if he's coming as a substitute, we've seen players who are coming as substitute have even had more impact than this. I think generally, Mr. Conte, I don't know. I don't understand what he's doing.
They said they will go back. They'll go back on
That team looks like a team that lacks proper coaching. That is what I can say about Spurs, and I think that has probably affected Richarlison too. Not
True.
only him, except probably King. Like I said, Son has had an underwhelming season, as per his own standard too. Underwhelming.
Yeah, true that.
So,
True that.
I think it's more of a coaching problem.
Okay. Shay, do you agree with Olawale? I don't agree. He should have at least 1 goal or 1 assist. 60 million pounds.
I agree. I agree 100% with Olawale. I think the system they play does not even accommodate Richarlison type of game. If you look at the way the Brazilian team plays, you look at even the way the Everton team plays, that is a Richarlison. Is a striker that either plays up top or plays behind a striker. So if Tottenham will change the way they play and decide to play Richarlison behind Kane, how will that work for them? Then that means Son does not have the opportunity to ghost in. So I think the dynamics around that Tottenham team, it's somehow. So for me, I think it's more of a system thing for Richarlison. So he's not able
That's a
to
personal
really,
problem.
yeah, it's not that the personal
Express.
problem. Obviously, that's why before the World Cup, it was similar for him in the sports team, but we saw him at the World Cup. We saw a different Richarlison. So that's actually the answer to the question. So you see him in a different system. You see what Richarlison is known for. But in Tottenham or sports team, I think that system doesn't work for him.
TG, what about you? I think TG is gone for a second. But for me,
No, I'm with you.
oh, okay. What do you think of Richarlison's?
I agree with what everybody has said. I agree with you too that, I mean, whichever way it goes, he should have also done up a goal or an assist, basically.
At the very least.
But the truth too is to make you understand why it is, just like Olawale said, it is most likely a team problem, is that if you look at Son, for example, he has just 5 goals this season. There is really nobody in that team who have scored more than 5 goals, except for Harry Kane, who has 17. And from last season, that side is relatively a free scoring team as well.
Yeah.
So it shows that there's a lack of creativity in the middle of
sorry, Conte came mid-season, right? He came in mid-season.
Exactly.
Mid-season. Oh,
yeah, and they still scored a lot of goals last season. So you can tell that there's a problem with how much offensive options or offensive creativity in that team at the moment. So it's really going to affect anybody. But Kane is going to be there because he plays as a points man. You expect him to score goal anyways. Exactly. So I mean, it's normal. I want to believe if you put Richarlison in that position as well, he would have scored. Do you understand?
Let's hope he's going to at least get 1 goal or 1 assist. I pray for him. I pray for him.
Focus on your friend. Is Antonio Conte. Focus on him. He needs another 10 players.
We know Conte is a self-destructive human being. Honestly, I'm so happy that Arsenal did not get Conte out of that time, and I'm glad that United did not go for Conte, because I remember Gary Neville drumming that Conte into the hairs of the board that Conte is free. Let's go get Conte. Conte is a self-destructive human being. He will come in first season, do something. Second season, he will start fighting with everybody. By third season, he's gone, or they will send it back in. He has done it with Chelsea. He has done it with Juventus. He has done it at Inter Milan. He's doing it with Spurs.
I think for me, with the present team he has at Spurs, he should at least try something else. Every time you just want to stick with that 3-4-3, just probably tweak it a bit. you can do more of it. You can do a 4 at the back.
Especially if you don't have,
a lot of options. Actually.
yeah,
That's lots of options.
especially if you don't have the personnel to prosecute what you want to do,
Exactly. Or when you have the personnel to do something else.
something else.
You
In
don't have to
fact,
stick with
be unpredictable at times.
exactly.
Conte
Not-
is just Conte. It's never going to change, and that's why people will not take him serious. Honestly, I think Conte is
I would
just
challenge with
Conte.
Conte is whenever he loses a game, the next thing is we need 10 players.
We need to
sign-
we need to sign players. Exactly, that's what he does. We need more players. And that's what he drums all the time. Anyways, it's a wonderful show today. Thank you guys. I understand the fact that it's late. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you everybody. Abdulwadud, Jimo, Abeshi, Ola, Damilare, and everybody else that commented on the show. Thank you very much. We'll see you again next week. Don't forget
watch the NBA All-Star game.
NBA All-Star games. I'm going to play football right now. Thank you very much. And don't forget, guys, this show is proudly sponsored by Hypermatch, the new way to pay your fantasy football league, and of course, Bokezo Glams, where you can buy all the glorious accessories that you want in Nigeria or beyond. Thank you very much, and wonderful sporting week.